We got Derrick Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Derrick Lewis is at huge power. We know his balls are hot. He wants to stand. He's got some sloppy ass takedowns, no striking defense. He gasses and just prays for a fucking knockout. Rodrigo, I was incredibly impressed with his takedowns for a heavyweight. I was very, very impressed with how he was getting guys down. He does run forward with no defense, which, haha, ding ding. That's an opportunity to get chinned right there by Mr. Lewis. But he's a sub seeker, and I just feel like he's got more paths to win against Mr. Derrick Lewis than people think. He's at a plus 140 minus dog. Derrick Lewis at minus 166 right now. Everybody knows Derrick Lewis. Probably one of the most popular heavyweights. It's like him and Tai Tuivasa are guys that just aren't that great, but they're big names. And so I think there's going to be a lot of money on Derrick Lewis. And we've seen a lot of, we just called it. We just called Perez versus Nicolau. This year, I've seen a lot of upsets in that main event. I think we see one again here with Rodrigo. Bobby, are we going to make it a full 8 for 8 on the same side?
Derrick Lewis, I wish I knew how to quit you.
No,
I wish I knew how to quit you, Derrick Lewis.
No, don't do it. Bobby.
It's tough. Elaborate on this grappling. I see he has submission wins, but you really concern me when he just charges forward. When you say shit,
I know.
It's tough because Derrick Lewis is the most unpredictable guy because we just saw in his last fight him get completely dominated in the most boring fucking 25-minute fucking decision and a 3-month span of boring main event fucking decisions. That one stood out as the shittiest, shiniest turd in the fucking porta potty of the fucking Mojave Desert, just sweltering in the fucking heat, festering. How terrible that fucking fight against Marco Sergio de Lima was. Actually, not Marco Sergio. That's the guy he beat. Who the fuck was it? Jelton Almeida. There we go. Jelton Almeida, when he got fucking just not even smothered, because that implies domination. It was like, it's what all the fucking casuals and weirdos out there say when they talk about two guys just on top of each other, like softcore porn and shit. That's what that fucking fight between Derrick Lewis and Jelton Almeida was. That's the fight that you tell all your friends about and they're all hyped up and you fucking bring them over to the house and you guys kick back and have a nice little fucking time watching fights. And that's the one that you introduce them to. And then they fucking hate you for the rest of their life and they never watch again. That's the fucking luck you have with that type of shit. But by the same token, Derrick Lewis is also the knockout king, the leader in knockouts in UFC history across all fucking divisions. And he's kind of made a career preying off guys like this, who like Marcin Tybura, who like fucking Victor Pesta. Let me go through Derrick Lewis's resume of guys with very similar fucking skill sets like this that he's just crumpled and just fucking destroyed. Marco Sergio de Lima. This is kind of my main thing here. This fight is just giving me Marco Sergio de Lima vibes when he just flying knee knockout fucking Sergio de Lima in like 15 seconds. Once again, Derrick Lewis is fucking spotty, hot and cold. He wins one, he loses one. He's like, you just never know what the fuck's going to happen to him. But what I'm getting at with this is, for all of his losses, he's also Alexei Olenek, the guy who is a fucking master of one specific sub, did it really well, caught a lot of people with it. Derrick Lewis took his fucking head off of him. Let's see. Who else? Marcin Tybura, I mentioned him. Shamil Abdulkarimov, when he fought him, Shamil was actually decent. Gabriel Gonzaga was decent. Victor Pesta, like, these are guys who kind of are pretty good fucking grapplers, and they just couldn't get it going against him. And I just don't know, man. The main thing that also concerns me is Derrick Lewis absolutely destroyed Chris Dawkhouse like it was fucking nothing in round one. And Nascimento was pretty brutally KO'd by him. And I'm not trying to use MMA math here by any means, but that is not a win that has aged well at all. That's another win that has aged like milk for Nascimento. Chris Dawkhouse isn't even in the UFC any fucking more. And Derrick Lewis just was the guy that started that. And you know, this is another case with Nascimento of like when Charles Oliveira kept fighting Nick Lentz fucking 3 times and nobody asked for that and nobody gave a shit about that. Like the fucking rubber match with Dontel Mays has to happen, folks, because, you know, he's got 2 fucking wins over Dontel Mays. We have to see this fight a 3rd time. And then a split decision over Alil Latifi May of last year, not good. Split decision over Tanner Boser, not fucking good. Did have a TKO win over Alan Badeau in 2021, but that was overturned because Nascimento pissed hot for an ADHD drug. So, you know, I don't know. He's not got very many fights in the UFC. It's tough. I could easily see it going the other way, but I'm actually going to disagree with you. And I think the longer this goes on, I think people probably are not going to put money on Derrick Lewis. I would actually think the money line will probably edge closer to Nascimento once people start looking into the record and see how Derrick Lewis has been. Unfortunately, as one of the biggest Derrick Lewis fans out there in the twilight of his career for a few years now, I think people are going to start to put the money on Nascimento. And I just really hope win, lose, or draw, Derrick Lewis hangs up the gloves here very, very shortly while he can still go out with his head held high and with his legacy intact. Because I don't know, man. This is, besides this and the Buckley fight, this is the toughest one for me. And I'm just going to stick with Derrick Lewis. It's going to be the only one I dissent on. I could easily fucking see it going the other way and Nascimento wet blanket him or even lock up the fucking sub to make it an embarrassingly early night and just add insult to injury and further confirm what we already know, which is that Derrick Lewis should have hung it up like 2-3 fucking years ago now. But Derrick Lewis is who Derrick Lewis is. As far as heavyweight main events that I've been railing against for months now, this is probably one of the more entertaining ones that you could have cobbled together. So it's not exactly the best headliner for a main event spot in 2024, but it's damn sure not the worst after the dog shit we've been putting up with these past few months. But yeah, I hope Derrick Lewis gets it done. I'm going to say KO, TKO, and I think the money line is going to edge closer to Nascimento as we get closer to this fight. So.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spots from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast, Better in Green.